From being one of the most iconic and profitable children's franchises in the world to becoming an irrelevant, failed cash grab, Thomas the Tank Engine has been on a runaway journey downhill, accelerating faster and faster. But what could have possibly led this powerful franchise to its demise? Today, we'll be covering the reasons for the downfall of Thomas the Tank Engine. Reason number 1. Lack of availability and marketing. In 2012, Mattel took control of the Thomas franchise and initiated a show reboot. This overhaul introduced a new production team, narrator, and animators, significantly improving the show by reintroducing classical elements from the classic series. The show reached its peak during what fans dubbed the Brenner era, spanning 5 seasons from 17 to 21. Despite the high quality of the episodes, a significant issue arose. There was limited accessibility. Marketing efforts were scarce, and episodes aired infrequently on TV networks such as Cartoonito and Milkshake in the UK, often once a day as early as 6 and 7 a.m. Although episodes were broadcast on multiple networks globally, the chances of catching an episode were slim. Even with a new movie released annually, the lack of marketing made it challenging to watch. Surprisingly, one of the primary means of accessing the new Thomas episodes was through unofficial fan uploads on YouTube. Fans played a pivotal role in making the show available, underscoring the apparent carelessness Mattel exhibited towards the brand, creating content that went unseen. Without the dedicated fans, many would have missed these episodes, and the brand suffered because of the limited exposure. This lack of availability had a significant impact on the brand's reach. Many children would have remained unaware of the new episodes, leading to reduced toy sales and viewership. After 5 years, Mattel acknowledged declining sales, but instead of addressing the availability and marketing issues, they shifted blame to the storytelling and themes. This led to a reboot known as the Big World Big Adventures era, marked by a cheaper CGI, removal of classic themes and characters, faster pacing, and a reliance on anything but trains to carry the show about talking trains. Unsurprisingly, this approach failed again, as Mattel failed to learn from past mistakes and improve the show's availability. Exposure is crucial for generating interest among kids, and Mattel's belated decision to put the show on Netflix after it concluded was too little too late. Regardless of the show's quality, its inevitable failure stemmed from the fact that it seemed as if the show didn't exist due to poor accessibility and marketing. Reason number 2. Toys. It goes without saying that toys are a significant component of the Thomas the Tank Engine brand. Loving Thomas often meant owning the merchandise. However, when Mattel took over, substantial changes were made to cut costs, resulting in cheaper character toys and gimmicky themes. The accuracy of the characters to toys suffered, leading children to opt for toys from other brands. Children do notice details on their toys. For instance, many older fans remember in the past when they were young discerning about small details, such as the non-moving side rods, which despite being accurate and of high quality, was something that bothered children of that era. This suggests to us, if those high-quality toys had criticism from children, they will definitely notice how ugly and inaccurate the current merchandise is. The littlest of things make a big difference. Furthermore, there was a notable reduction in the variety of characters available. In the past, shelves were filled with diverse Thomas characters, including some more obscure ones, creating an impression of a vast collection. However, over time, the selection of characters diminished, making it easy and uninteresting for kids to collect them all. This limited availability meant that a child's favorite character might not even be available for purchase. The packaging also underwent significant changes, becoming overwhelming. Original Thomas merchandise had a simple design, mostly blue and yellow, with a straightforward photo of the toy. This distinctive packaging made the aisle stand out, with toys easily identifiable and understandable. In contrast, modern toys with overwhelming packaging blended in too much, making it challenging for customers to comprehend what they were looking at without a closer look. This likely deterred potential buyers, especially when surrounded by other, more appealing toys. Towards the end of the show in 2020, efforts were made to rectify this issue by introducing simpler sets and packaging. However, these improvements came too late. The lack of characters and overwhelming packaging contributed to the gradual reduction of Thomas toy sections in shops. In some cases, there's hardly a dedicated Thomas section at all. Additionally, the constant updates to toy brands featuring new names and features further exacerbated the situation. Instead of learning from their mistakes, the brand doubled down on its ways, resulting in toy brands running barely for 2 years before changing again to be cheaper and less appealing. Reason number 3. Politics. Politics in recent years has proven to be incredibly controversial in the media. But how did it impact the Thomas brand? Well, after the Brenner era was deemed a failure, the Big World, Big Adventure era took a new direction, focusing on other countries, messages, and diversity within the main cast of characters. This shift seemed clearly aimed at garnering attention from news outlets for big, fancy headlines. While diversity in TV shows is absolutely fantastic, offering children valuable messages and lessons, for Thomas it sadly didn't work. It pushed the franchise to cover themes it simply can't explore or explain in a way that it should. The Thomas franchise revolves around talking trains and uniquely focuses on problems and challenges trains face. The entire show has featured talking trains reacting and understanding train-related issues, a concept exclusive to the show. The new diverse storylines introduced in the Big World, Big Adventure era don't necessitate trains and could easily be included by any other children's TV shows instead. Thomas exploring the cultures of other countries, like pandas and coconuts, feels entirely disconnected from the show's original themes. This diversion shifts the spotlight away from trains and onto cultural gimmicks exploited for toys and marketing. Children interested in buying a monkey would just buy a monkey, not a Thomas train set. Thomas sets are bought by kids who buy it for the sake of it being trains. That's what made it unique to buy in the first place. Another issue caused by politics is adding diversity into the main cast of characters. In an attempt to achieve gender balance, 2 of the franchise's original characters, Edward and Henry, were entirely replaced by 2 new female characters called Nia and Rebecca. While the inclusion of more female characters is a great idea and completely welcomed as the franchise was mostly male-dominated, the execution was horrendous. The 2 new female characters lack any depth, seemingly interesting solely by the fact they were female. They exist as mere statements rather than characters to be cherished. They're like empty loaves of bread slotted between sandwiches. This decision also led to the removal of legacy characters like Edward and Henry, 2 of the original first 3 characters, disrespecting the legacy they represented. A more tasteful approach would have been to introduce female characters to work alongside the existing cast, rather than replacing cherished characters, making the existence of these new characters come off as rather spiteful. Furthermore, none of the already established female characters and diverse characters in the show were promoted to larger roles, contradicting the promotion of diversity that the show claimed to push. These attempts at diversity come off as lazy and stereotypical, inadvertently insulting the very groups they aim to portray and include. The changes appear to be made for social points and force controversy, contributing to the larger issues that led to the downfall of the franchise. Also highlighting the priorities of Mattel and their lack of care of the brand. To sum it all up, the main reasons for the show's decline are not learning from mistakes and doubling down on problems, blaming and changing a show that was perfectly fine, failing due to a lack of exposure, then rebooting it without addressing the underlying issues. There's a failure to take responsibility for their lack of effort and poor marketing skills. Mattel's approach seems like pure insanity, doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting different results. They double down on bad merchandising. If toys don't sell well, they make them cheaper, leading to even worse quality and declining sales. The show also suffers from promoting ideologies and messages that don't fit in a show about trains, impacting storytelling, characters, and themes. This results in the loss of elements that made Thomas so unique in the first place. Currently, the show's been rebooted into a 2D series called All Engines Go. While technically a different series, it still features many popular characters and locations from the original show. However, it's evident that the show means no harm but has deviated significantly from its original essence. The content is now incredibly hollow and empty, offering watered-down material that's cheap and easy to produce and push out in bulk. It blends into the vast library of bland children's content found on their iPads worldwide. Thomas is no longer an iconic sentimental franchise filled with love and charm. It has become a corporate, soulless machine, irrelevant to kids who are consuming the product, then the next, and even more after that. The wonder now lies in whether this franchise will ever get back on track.